10 insane Harry Potter theories. The Harry Potter universe is basically an ever-growing world because of the fans out there coming up with new theories and conspiracies all the time. Having such a populated fan base means that there are thousands of theories out there. Some of them are pretty believable, but on the other hand, a lot of them are insane. So in today's video, we're going to be going over 10 insane Harry Potter theories. Please, make sure to leave a like if you do enjoy, and consider subscribing, because if you do, you could get a shout out. But with that being said, let's get right into it. Number 1. Professor McGonagall is a Death Eater? Now, let me first say, although this theory doesn't have an incredible amount of evidence to back it up, it is still interesting, and it hasn't stopped some readers or watchers from believing it. Some of the go-to Harry Potter fanbase believes that Professor McGonagall is actually a Death Eater, but in disguise. Of course, with her being a teacher at Hogwarts, it would be very hard for her to hide the fact that she's a Death Eater, although it wouldn't be impossible. There are bits of evidence presented throughout the series which highlights clues towards her being one. First of all, we have the fact that McGonagall is dismissive about Muggles in the Sorcerer's Stone, as she calls them not completely stupid. So, she's calling them stupid, just not 100%. And of course, we know that Death Eaters don't like Muggles, so that's a tiny bit of evidence there. There's also the evidence that she is good at transfiguration, which is a craft entirely based on hiding one's true self. So maybe she was hiding the fact that she was a Death Eater. And as the last bit of evidence, we have the fact that she has a total disregard for the safety of Harry and his friends, as there have been multiple times where the professor was trying to give the kids their freedom to learn on their own, which put Harry into harm's way, maybe in the hopes of getting him eliminated and pleasing the Dark Lord. Now, despite this evidence, I don't really believe that McGonagall was in any way tied in with the Death Eaters myself, but there are some people out there that do, so maybe let us know in the comments what you think.
Mission to do this?
That is correct, Longbottom.
To blow it up! Boom! Boom!
Number 2. Harry was hallucinating. This theory suggests that Harry was incredibly depressed after he had to live with the Dursleys, especially because he spent most of his time inside of a cupboard. It's suggested that the entire Harry Potter series is actually just a dream created by Harry while he was stuck in the dark, all alone, in the Dursleys' cupboard. I understand that this theory may be a little hard for some people to grasp, but Rowling herself has actually gone as far as to address the idea that Harry might have dreamed it all. So maybe Harry did actually go mad while being inside of the cupboard, and that everything that happened afterwards was some sort of fantasy life that he made up to save himself from the torture that he was put through. It does seem a little far-fetched, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was true.
Wake up, cousin! We're going to the zoo!
Number 3. Quirrell was trying to take out Neville during his first flying lesson. I'm sure that everybody can remember the scene in which Neville nearly died during his first flying lesson at Hogwarts. He was a first year and was so scared to take flight on his broom the first time and accidentally kicked off way too early and ended up flying around the yard, eventually falling off his broom, only being saved by his robes getting stuck. But there's this theory out there, created by fans, that maybe Neville's accident wasn't his fault. Later on in the books, Professor Quirrell, with Voldemort in the back of his turban, tries to kill Harry by taking control of his broom during the first Quidditch match. This is very similar to what happened to Neville, who is coincidentally the other chosen one because of what happens in the last movie. So maybe Quirrell was the one taking control of Neville's broom.
Everyone out of the way!
Number 4. The obstacles during the Sorcerer's Stone are foreshadowing the rest of the series. During the first book, there are obstacles that Harry, Ron, and Hermione have to get through in order to get the Sorcerer's Stone. The trio has to get a Devil's Snare, a plant that is very similar to the Whomping Willow that Harry and Ron get caught in during the second book. There's also the broom and flying keys, which are very similar to the Quidditch match where Harry is attacked by Dementors during the Prisoner of Azkaban. The third task is a life-size chess match, styled like a graveyard, and later on during the Goblet of Fire, Harry ends up in a graveyard. They also have to face a troll, just like Gwarp, who we see in the 5th movie, and a potions puzzle, which is only seen in the 6th book, not the movie, which is an emphasis on potions teacher Professor Slughorn and the Half-Blood Prince's potions book that Harry finds. And then finally, Harry is faced up against Voldemort, disguised as Quirrell, just like he does at the end of the Deathly Hallows. So yeah, maybe the obstacles that the Golden Trio had to get through were completely foreshadowing the rest of the story. Number 5. Ron is actually Dumbledore. Alright. I wouldn't blame you if you wanted to click away after hearing this, but hear me out, okay? There's a theory out there that connects Ron and Dumbledore together quite tightly, to be honest. Do you remember the chess match that I briefly mentioned earlier? Well, this theory uses the chess match to prove its points. During the chess match, Ron plays as both a knight and a king, which can be taken as a symbol for the larger war between good and evil in the series. Ron is the knight because he's always backing up his friend Harry, and Dumbledore is seen as the king because he's a mastermind controlling everything. This theory is also backed up by some similarities between the two characters physically and in their personalities as well. They are both redheads who are described as having large hands, and they are also both obsessed with candy. But I mean, to be honest, who isn't? And one final nail to hit this theory on the head comes from a song that the other kids would sing to Ron, saying in one line that he was born in a bin. Bin, in Latin, is a prefix meaning to imply that Ron was born twice. So, what do you think? Is Ron Dumbledore? Let us know in the comments what you believe.
Ron, maybe I should do it. Yeah, right.
Number 6. Mary Poppins and Harry Potter are in the same universe. Hagrid is a very loved character from the Harry Potter series, and if you think about it, he has more in common with Mary Poppins than you might think. Well, at least according to this theory. Some people have said that everyone's favorite magical nanny, Poppins, was actually a Hogwarts graduate long before Harry and even Voldemort. After graduating from Hogwarts, she left her magical track record behind her to move back into the Muggle world. But she didn't give up on her magic, as shown throughout her frequent use of levitation and flying. As well, she has a magical carry-everything bag, similar to the one that Hermione has during the Deathly Hallows. In order to continue to use her magic in front of Muggles without them getting too suspicious, she hid her wand inside of her umbrella, just like Hagrid does. A little bit suspicious, Maybe this theory is a little far-fetched, but it's still fun to think about. Hermione's cat. There have been a lot of theories surrounding the mysterious background of Hermione's cat, Crookshanks. Some people believe that he is a resurrection of Harry's mother, Lily Potter. As evidence, they have matching red hair and green eyes, and the cat hates Ron's rat, who we find out later is actually Peter Pettigrew in disguise. Another theory suggests that the cat isn't Lily, but he did belong to her. During the Deathly Hallows, it's revealed to us that Harry's mother did have a cat, and so some readers believe that after Lily's cat disappeared during the Voldemort attack on the Potter's house, he eventually made his way to Hermione.
You know the Egyptians used to worship cats?
Yeah, along with the dung beetles.
Number 8. Willy Wonka is George Weasley. This theory connects another beloved character to the Harry Potter universe, and in this case, it's Roald Dahl's Willy Wonka. This theory suggests that after the events of the Deathly Hallows, George used a time turner to travel back in time to a different era to live a new life for himself. We all know that the Weasley twins had a candy empire, and so George used his knowledge of this to restart his career in the Muggle world as Willy Wonka. This would explain a lot of Wonka's silly inventions that could only seem real with a bit of magic.
Can't you see? It makes everlasting gobstoppers.
Did you say everlasting gobstoppers?
That's right.
Number 9. Harry is immortal. This is one of the most popular Harry Potter theories out there, and it takes the wording of Professor Trelawney and her prophecy about Harry and Voldemort to show that now that Harry has defeated the Dark Lord, he's actually doomed to live forever. The prophecy she read said, "Either must die at the hands of the other, for neither can live while the other survives." So, if you read into this line a little further, it would suggest that the remaining one cannot die any other way, right? Because they have to be killed by one another. If that's true, it would mean that Harry cannot die because he kills Voldemort. This would add to one of the many sacrifices that Harry has to make to fight against Voldemort, since it means he will never be able to see his parents or his other deceased loved ones ever again. So it's quite sad if you think about it.
He will return tonight.
Sorry?
Number 10. Horcruxes are created by cannibalism. Gruesome, yes, but could it be true? Also, yes, J.K. Rowling never actually revealed how Horcruxes were truly created, which has led to a lot of discussion among fans on how the evil objects are brought into the world. This has to be one of the strangest, but also one of the most well-supported theories on the creation of Horcruxes. If you think about it, it does fit in with everything that we already know about them. Creating them is one of the darkest acts of magic, and the process involves murder, a spell, and a horrifying act. The theory suggests that this horrifying act could actually be cannibalism, which is one of the darkest arts that is imaginable. Cannibalism is frequently connected with gaining strength and power from the dead. With Voldemort eating his victims after he or one of his agents killed them, he would be gaining more power and strength, so it does seem pretty legit, to be fair.
Not sure what you were reading, Tom, but this is very dark stuff, very dark indeed.
But there we have it, 10 insane Harry Potter theories. Let us know what you thought in the comments, and leave a like and subscribe with the notifications turned on. But we will see you in the next video.